Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, everyone, and welcome to This is Football. Welcome to another season review, ladies and gentlemen. We done the Arsenal season review, we done the Chelsea season review, and this is a time where I can actually get involved in the whole review conversation because I'm a Liverpool fan myself. As you guys can see, rocking the Fabio Borini kit right here, hearts, in the qualifiers to the Europa League. I was there in the dark times, make no mistake. Everyone watching us right now, or on the replay, you guys already know the drill. Make sure you slap the like button, make sure you subscribe. We're actually headed towards 13.5k right now. We're almost approaching that, and then 14, 15, inshallah. So make sure you slap the likes, make sure you subscribe. We've got a lot of content coming your way as well. We've got the Conference League watch along tomorrow, inshallah. So we've got so much coming your way. Big up everyone in the comments. I see you guys. Big up to K. Everyone's saying Kopish and Hussam, am I dreaming? No, you're not. Apparently, it's everyone's dream. Big up, man. Big up everyone in the comments. Big up to you guys. Big up to you, Cam. Thank you. Big up to Sal, Ilya. Big up to everyone in the comments. Big up to you guys, man. Thank you so much for joining us. There's already 100 people in here. We ain't even started yet. As I said, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Keep letting us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And speaking of, this has been a long overdue collaboration. I keep the same energy behind their backs, in front of their faces. I think they're pound for pound the absolute best Liverpool content creators out there, the best channel. Great guys on and off the camera. Actually, the only guy I have never really interacted or worked with is probably Drifty, but I've worked with Matt, I've worked with Callum before. Great guys, unbelievable channel. Make sure you go check them out and subscribe as well. They're literally in the title, in case you've been living under a cave, you don't know who Kopish are. I don't know what the hell you're doing with your life. So joining us on the channel is a man who's a real one. I think that's the best compliment I can give to him. Off the camera, as a person, he's probably, even better than a content creator because he's just such a real, unbelievably genuine guy. And for me, that's the reason why he's on this collaboration right here. He's on the Liverpool season review because he's the guy to work with for me when it comes to the Liverpool content. So joining us on the channel is none other than the man, the myth, the legend. Man like Callum has joined us on the channel. How are you doing, bro?
Bro, the introduction, man. Appreciate, man. Do appreciate. Look, as I say, whenever I'm on this channel, it's always a blessing. So thanks for having me. Just to let the people know, the reason why I've not been on the channel is not down to Sam, it's down to me. He invites me a lot. My schedule's just crazy. But when he reached out to me this time and I had nothing else on, it was always going to be a yes. So, Sam, everything you said about me, I appreciate, but I've got to reciprocate. You're a real one. I love your content. Spoke to you about your Twitter space as well. Iconic, legendary. So, appreciate you having me on and thank you, man.
No worries. I don't think anyone else be giving you these intros as well. No one's low-key, no one's giving you these intros.
No, I'm not gonna lie. That's up there still.
Big up, Cal, man. Big up.
Big up, brother.
So let's just get into it. Liverpool Football Club, aka the embarrassment this year. This is what I think, right? If this collaboration happened like 2 months ago, me and him would just be in a much angrier mood. Much
100%.
angrier. Like 100%. If this happened, this is the 7th or 6th of June, like where you are in the world. If this happened like 6th of April, bro, we would be shouting, we'd be mad, we'd probably get into arguments. I feel like the way we ended the season, the fact that, we're on the verge of signing Macallister has kind of calmed people down. But unfortunately for us, and for the lovely viewers watching, we're going to be talking past, present, and future. So we have to go dive deep into the past, into the painful past that was this year. Big up my guy Chris says, big up Sam and Callum. Look forward to this. Chris. Thank you so much, Chris. Big up to you. So let's just get into it. You know what it is, Cal? I swear to God, every time I think about it, I just cry on the inside. I cannot. So going into last season, this specific season, right? Going into it, I know, when me and you had the conversation, with the whole Hussam, you're too negative stuff regarding our midfield and blah, blah, blah. I can't, Caleb Loki actually been more negative, I swear. I didn't expect it to be this bad. So heading into the season, we signed Nunez, Carvalho, Calvin Ramsey. What was kind of your expectation heading into the season after the season we had last year?
So, all right. So I'll be very open and honest. going into the season, I said, I can't remember which show it was, but either the first or second, one or two shows before the first game of the season, I asked Matt and Drift a question on Coppish, and I said, in your opinion, do you think we have a stronger squad now than when we finished the season? And they were like, yeah, I think so. And I said, I don't think we do. Like, Nunes was, to me, was unproven at the time. I know he had a great season for Benfica, but he's still unproven at the highest level, in my opinion. Carvalho was unproven, and so was Ramsey. And for me, Carvalho was brought in knowing that he's a 10 and we don't play with a 10. So I straight away said to Matt Adrift, I was like, he's going to be Diaz's understudy. And they were like, no, by the end of the season, they're going to switch the formation. And it's going to be him in the 10 and Nunes up top. And I said, that's what it should be. But I'm telling you, he's going to be Diaz's understudy. We don't play with a 10. Calvin Ramsey, I thought, and I want to pick my words carefully here because I don't want to dump on Calvin Ramsey. Calvin Ramsey was a signing we should never have made, in my opinion. I think he's quality. And I might, in a year or two time, what I've just said might be used and clipped up and people can call me a fool. I'm all for it, because if that's the case, that means he's gone on to do something successful for Liverpool. We needed someone who could come in straight away and say to Trent, if you have 2 or 3 bad games, I'm going to take your position. I'm going to take your place in the team. Calvin Ramsey was never that guy. And for me, that validated to Trent that no matter what happens, you're going to be a starter. And for me, that's a very dangerous mindset to have for a team. So going into the season, I thought we had a weaker squad than what we had ended the season. However, so not signing a midfielder or signing Artemelo and not signing another midfielder, I said, there's no way we're winning the league. I said to them, I was like, there's no way we're winning the league.
Artemelo, you know.
Yeah, bruv. When we signed him, that we did a deadline day show, and bro, I was so miserable. I just remember everyone in the Coppish community going, "Why is Callum so miserable?" And I was just like, "Am I the only one who sees an issue with this? Like, why am I the only one that sees an issue? Just because he's a new player doesn't make it a good one." And I said, I bet we barely see him play, but also this means we're not winning the league. However, I did say I think we'd finish second, but we wouldn't be close to City. Never in my wildest dreams, bro. After watching us winning the Community Shield as well, did I think we'd finish 5th? And let's be honest, we only got 5th because a couple teams around us started to slack off a little bit. We were lucky to get 5th in the end. We weren't even unlucky to get 4th. We were lucky to get 5th. So, bruv, this season, it's changed my mindset on football. It's humbled me, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
That
I was that guy who was like,
you know when he said
Artemelo,
0 Premier League minutes though, 0,
bro,
not even
13 minutes. I could have signed for Liverpool. And done more, bro. Killed me, man. It absolutely killed me. It's humbled me this season, because you see, before this season, if you had picked any name out of a hat and said Liverpool are playing this team, I'm like, cool, we got it.
Yeah,
bro. Any team, Real Madrid, we've got them. Bayern Munich, cool. You see now, but I don't even see Brighton at the moment, bro.
I don't
want to see Brighton at the moment. So yeah, it's changed me this season, bro. I'm not that guy anymore.
Man. Like the stuff that this season's done to us, and you kind of touched on it all, like going into the season as well. Me and you shared the same. Maybe I was more aggressive in my delivery, but I think me and you probably thought the same thing at the time.
We did.
It was so glaringly obvious we needed the midfielder. And I look back at last year, just that kind of run at the end where Thiago and Fabinho apparently had to inject themselves with steroids in the knees to play that Champions League final. That kind of tells me all we need to know about how desperately we needed a midfielder. And before I kind of translate this into this year and, like the summer transfer into the future, for me, the way we started the season was so much of an indication of how unready we are. You look back at it, we're not, like, I don't want you to even speak on specific results, but I'm just saying, like, the start in general. You had the Napoli, the Man United, the Palace draw at home, the Fulham draw away. Even Newcastle, we kind of beat in the last second. Like, it wasn't even... We started the season absolutely horribly. And it really only went to shits from there. We saw we never really recovered from that start. Like, so like, talk to me through the start of the season in general. What were you thinking at the time?
Bro, the start of the season was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Klopp's worst start to a Premier League season since he'd been at the club. That let me know. That let me know all I needed to know. And the fact that I was watching teams like Arsenal dismantle team, I was thinking, have we just, in Space Jam when they run out of the juice? I was like, is that what happened to us over the summer? But it was the manner in which we were playing and losing games, like that Man United game. But Virgil standing there in front of Sancho like that. Big bad Virgil van Dijk standing off Sancho like that to the point where Milner's got to go up to him and shout in his face. And I'm thinking, no, something's not right here. Then I'm watching Napoli. I'm watching Napoli tear us to shreds. What did it finish? 4-1. They had a penalty saved and they could have scored more goals. We cleared one off the line. Virgil cleared one off the line. Like 4-1 flattered us. Napoli probably came away from that game thinking 4-1's not really good enough. We could have really put down a stamp of authority here. It could have been 6 or 7. Then you had the Bournemouth game and everyone's going, bruv, Indian Scouts, big up Indian Scouser. Bruv, I saw that game and I was like, oh, cool. We're just started off a couple games late, but we're cool now. Bournemouth game happened and I'm thinking, yeah, we're good. And then again, we just went rubbish again. I'm thinking, what's going on? But then if you remember, bro, before the World Cup, Klopp changed to a 4-2-4.
Oh, yes, I remember.
And we started playing good again. And I was thinking, all right, Klopp's come away from this 4-3-3. Linda's ain't in his ear saying Salah needs to get chalk on his boots. We're good again. We're good again. We switched up. We're good again. Then we came back from the World Cup. The midfielders came back from injury. And straight away, what did we see? 4-3-3 again. And I'm thinking, we just stumbled across a winning formula. Why change it back to what wasn't doing well? So then we just completely capitulate after that. Then we go to Trent in the inverted, and then we start doing the madness again. And everyone's talking about like, okay, yeah, we're going to make this push to top 4, and all we need is 71 points. And I kept on saying to people, I was like, we can get 71 points and still miss out. Yeah. Like, we did it to Arsenal. At the time, I don't think anyone had qualified. Sorry, anyone had not qualified for top 4 making 70 points. We were the first team, I think, to do that to Arsenal. And I was like, we can get 71 and still not make it, guys. Like, the level of the league has improved. It's gone up. So where we finished, for me, I don't even think that's a fair reflection on our season. I think 5th flat as Liverpool Football Club.
100%. And you know that period you spoke on for me in January. For me, post-World Cup Liverpool just at the start was even worse than us starting the season. For me, that was the absolute worst period. Like, that was the 3-0 to Brighton. That was the 3-0 to Wolves. That was the 2-1 loss to Brighton as well in the FA Cup. We just absolutely... And you know, that's kind of when...
The Wolves game, bro. Oh, I forgot about
Craig Dawson. Craig Dawson scored against us. Craig Dawson, Callum. Within 6 minutes, we were 2-0 down. Within 6 minutes. That has to be the worst I've ever felt.
Hold on. Were we messaging each other on? I feel like, I don't know if we were messaging each other on that day, but I just remember, I don't know if we were messaging each other on that day, or I remember watching some of your content on that day. And I was just like, Sam gets it. Sam gets how I feel right now. Because, bro, it was the last goal that really just flattered me. Bro, Neves ran through our midfield and slotted it.
And no one can follow Neves' run.
Oh, bro.
That was the worst period. That was absolutely the worst period. And what compounded that as well, on top of that whole, you see, January, February was probably the worst any Liverpool fans ever felt. This is what happened in January, February. January transfer window, we don't sign a midfielder, we go sign a left winger. Listen, I know, I swear I know. We don't sign a midfielder, sign a left winger. And then after that, we just keep on losing and losing. And you know, sometimes you lose and you think it might get better. It's just not getting better. Klopp benches Henderson, plays Elliott, we're still crap. The other guys play, we're crap. This guy plays, we're crap. It's just nothing's working. And then the whole Qatar takeover of Liverpool thing was brewing up, and people were talking about it. So we're like, oh, there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. And then boom, on our head tops, suddenly it's Qatar wants to buy Man United. We're like, we can't escape. We can't escape this year. We cannot escape. For me, that was the absolute worst. And then we go and we lose 5-2 to Real Madrid. That was just like, you know what? This year is just pointless. Like the amount of, like, that 2-3 month period was probably the worst I've ever felt under Klopp. 100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Easily.
Probably ever even. Because
Yeah, bro, it's devastating because
yeah.
we knew we were so much better than that. And I think that's where the frustration came from. It's like, it wasn't like we were not challenging for the league. Like, if we were third, but we were off the title race, and like, I'd get the frustration, but I wouldn't be like furious. It's the fact that we weren't even close to fourth. I was like, there's no way these lot are that bad that we should be in fourth. But I know
We
we'll
were
get
next
to
to
it. But,
Chelsea, by the way, at the time.
bro, do you remember the Chelsea game?
Yeah,
At Anfield, the
worst
0-0.
game all year. Worst
Oh
game.
my, bro, the lack of quality in that game. Oh, it's
That
been a rough
you know,
season,
if
man.
you're a neutral, I actually did a video on that game. I still remember with Matisse, big up Matisse, and I said, if you're a neutral, please don't watch this game. I gave the people advice. They do well. Listen, that was by far the most boring, worst game I've watched my whole life. Like,
no, you're forgetting one. Crystal
one?
Palace versus Liverpool at Selhurst Park.
I think that was better than the Chelsea one.
Do you? I don't know, bro.
These are the Chelsea highlights, right? The Chelsea highlight is the Havertz ruled offside goal, Mudryk dribbling past Milner. Highlights done. That's it. Nothing else.
That's true.
Palace, to be fair, at least Henderson stopped us from scoring our own free kick.
Oh my goodness.
The rant I went on that day, Callum. I'm like, how do you physically stop the ball from going into the net? And they showed it. I still remember that game. I don't know if you remember, but they showed it from a third angle where it was like straight up, and it showed how beautifully Trent curled it, and it was going into the corner. It was perfect. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. Even remembering them, I'm annoyed now. I'm just like remembering these moments. I'm annoyed.
Literally, I must have suppressed it. It must have been so traumatic that I suppressed some of these moments. But this, brother, even you're right. Like in November, we're thinking we're being taken off. Brother, I remember jumping on your Twitter space where we talk about potential Saudi owners, and then what was it? February, JW Henry sitting in a chair and just says, "No, I'm not selling." I was like, no. Wake me up from this nightmare because I'm done. You can't be giving us this season and then still talking about you're not selling. I was done, man. I zoned out.
Yeah, that was painful as well. And the fact that they pivoted to Qatar. But listen here, I'm gonna speak right here to this camera. Sheikh, we forgive you for going to the ops. If they get Jim Ratcliffe, come back. We all love you. We all want you, Sheikh. Come back. We will forgive you for going there. Don't worry, you'll be forgiven. Let me just run through these super chats real quick, and then we're gonna go to the whole kind of end to the season, a bit more positive, and then we speak on the future. Big up to Elman, who says, Don, did you delete Twitter? No, it's not. It's still there, Don Hussam 6, but I might relaunch a new Twitter soon, so stay tuned for that, my brother Elman. Big up to Felipe, who says, breaking news, he's a Bayern fan. Marne returns to LFC, Salah leaves. No, listen. I don't want Coutinho back. I don't want Mane back. I don't want Chan back. I don't want no one back. I want new faces. I'm tired of the old faces. I'm sorry with you. It's just, I don't know why people are so obsessed with just bringing people back. Bro, go bring Steven Gerrard. He's better than half our midfielders. I bet you he's better than half our midfielders. 100% he is. Big up Chamba. He says, love both of you because you have the true LFC DNA.
Big up, man.
Big up Chamba, man. Big up. AM says the Brighton game is the worst under Klopp. If you're talking about the 3-0, it's definitely up there. If you're I think Wolves is up there. I think Madrid is up there. Napoli. The one where I felt a lot of pain was Man United 2-1. Even though it was a small score line at the start of the season, I went to that game with so much confidence that we're going to beat them. So much confidence. And it just... but back on my head top, just like that. Big up to Ed, who says, big up H and Cal. I hope we sign Kone and Thuram along with Macallister. We need this sort of power in our current puny midfield. We need to scare opponents. Ed, thank you so much for the super chat. We're going to address the future in a second. The more positive moments are coming now in a second. Don't worry. It's not all negativity. But big up to you, Ed. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. We're going to get into it in a second. Amin says, United fan. Mac Mount Gallagher would be perfect for FC. Hey, everyone, Mount is now your problem. Don't try to shove your problems in my
That's
face.
not
That ain't my problem.
that's not our portion.
Yeah, that's not our problem anymore. That's not our problem anymore. Big up to Pimp in Distress. What a name. Big up to Sam and
Aye,
Popish.
Pops.
Been a hell of a day, Cal.
Yeah, definitely. Big up Pops. He knows why, but big him up.
Big up, my brother. Honestly, we're the biggest bottlers this year. I think based on expectation, we've probably been the most disappointing team, 100%,
Yeah.
depending. Because as Cal said earlier on, I don't think anyone, the most negative person, didn't expect us to be this bad. Like,
No.
people who were negative about Liverpool, minimum had us in top 4, minimum.
Yeah.
And IB7 finally says we all had Stockholm syndrome at some point. Bro, listen, some of these moments were dark. They were dark as hell. They were really dark.
Bruv,
And people were
we
still
forgot
accusing me
Leeds.
of
We
negativity
forgot,
even then. I'm like, do you want me to
bruv,
come here after Wolves 3-0 and go like, yeah, we had a good game? Like, what do you want
bruv,
me to do? Like,
this is what, bruv, we do shows on Copish, and I go into the comment section, and I'd be like, seeing Cal's negative. I'm like, we just lost to Wolves. We just lost to Leeds. We just lost to Nottingham Forest. Like, I'm not gonna come on here and be fake and start clapping and laughing and joking. Like, I'm in my house. My missus will tell you I'm upset. My kids will
Yeah.
tell you I'm upset. Like, I can't just be fake on camera because I switch a button on. Like, I'm upset because we shouldn't be losing these games.
and rightfully so. Listen, you see Craig Dawson score a goal, you're definitely gonna have to lose your mind. It's as simple as that. Craig Dawson. I still remember him from West Brom like 15 years ago when I was in school, and he scored the goal against them.
Bro,
Like, what are we doing here? And you want me to be happy? Come on, man. Anyway, everyone watching us right now, big up to you guys. There's 350 people watching us. Slap that like button. Subscribe to This Is Football if you're yet to do so. Big up IP7, Pimp, Amin, Ed, AM, Chambe, Felipe, Elman, and Chris for the super chats. Big up to you guys. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you all slap the like button. Make sure you all subscribe. And now to the more... Get it out first. Now we go to a bit more positive moments.
yeah.
The Trent inverted thing, the Arsenal game, the run we had towards the end of the season, the emergence of, the next man up, Curtis Jones, who I have spoken horrible things about in the past, but I'd gladly have him as a squad player now. So I've changed my mind. So Cal, just talk to me about that whole ending to the season. And I think we should start at the Arsenal game because I think that's where it all started, to be honest.
Yeah, so I've got a shout out to Xhaka because without Xhaka doing what he did at Arsenal, I don't know where we finished the season. Like, genuinely, I think we could be finishing 7th or 8th if we're lucky. Arsenal were cruising in that game, and it was so reminiscent of the season before. Even though they weren't beating us the season before, they were they were managing us. They were calm in the game. And the season before last, it was Arteta having a go at Klopp, and then the fans just boom. If there's any player in the Liverpool team you do not want to rile up at Anfield, it is the Scouse-born right back who everyone in that stadium will fight to the death for. Xhaka would have had a better chance going up and starting a fight with Virgil. At least that way we know Virgil's going to handle himself and we'll just go, it's Virgil, innit? You start on Trent in Liverpool, expect a war, and that's what they got. Trent, it's almost like a switch went off in Trent that day and was like, you know what? Why am I playing like I'm scared? Why am I playing like I'm not the guy? I'm him. And he just said, all right, Zinchenko, you're doing the inverted thing over there. I'm going to do it over here and we'll see who's really inverting in a minute. And that from that moment to the end of the season, that's probably the best period I've seen Trent play since he's broken through at Liverpool. I know he's had brilliant seasons and great numbers and stuff. That period there, from that Arsenal game to the end of the season, he literally was dominating games. And I don't know if you're going to speak on it, Don, but I don't know if you saw Carragher's quotes today regarding Trent. So basically, Carragher was saying, we're going to be sitting here this time next season going, why are we still playing a right back who should be a midfielder in midfield? And why are we going to go and get a right back if we don't do it this summer? I agree with him. Like, bro, if you'd asked me 6 months ago, where should Trent play? Bro, I'd have been like, he either plays right back or he sits on the bench. You see right now, Trent is no longer a right back for me.
But let me ask you a question. When you say that, do you mean in the inverted role or do you mean an actual midfielder?
Both, bro. Just throw him in midfield, bro.
I don't think he would work as a midfielder. Inverted, I agree, but not as a midfielder.
I think he works even better in midfield because he doesn't have to think about potentially tracking back at right back. I think it just takes all that off his mind. And it also means whoever's playing right centre back hasn't got to do two jobs as well. Like for me, if you buy a right back who's accomplished, you're half in the workload for Ibu or whoever plays on that side and half in the workload for Trent, which means they thrive at their best. Ibu does what he does. He sweeps up, he bullies, he brings the ball forward when need be. And Trent dominates games.
I agree with you, but in the
game,
inverted role, the thing is, for me, the whole point of the inverted role is for us to have an extra midfielder in there. So you're essentially playing with 4 midfielders. So that's, for me, that's the major positive of it. If we go, for the sake of argument, we play a 4-3-3, and let's say Trent's the RCM. Now, in the Klopp system, Trent would be doing the Henderson role. So you'd have to get a right back who can do it offensively and defensively in order for that to work. I think, personally, I want to see him in midfield, but only inverted. And our left back, Robertson, who, listen, I'm not even going to say anything wild.
He's
but
got
this
away with
guy,
murder this season, Robert.
Listen, this guy this year, I think he's played even worse than Trent at the start of the season. If I'm giving overall.
He's got away with it a lot this season.
I think he's still defensively sound to the level where we could go to a 3 with him in there and have Trent as the 4th midfielder. The advantage is us having 4 in midfield. That's what I think gives us the major advantage. And if you look at the players that we're linked with, let's assume for the sake of argument, we get Mac, Kone, and Thuram. None of them are DMs, which means we're probably going to defend by committee and attack by committee, which I actually prefer more because I think it's more like total football type thing. So for me personally, I agree if he is inverted, but I don't want him to be playing as the RCM because then that would mean we would need 2 things could happen if he plays in midfield. And I want to hear your rebuttal to this. He either plays in a double pivot alongside someone else, which we're still going to see people say the same shit, Trent can defend, blah, blah, blah. And that would make us a midfielder weaker from the whole inverted thing. Or the other thing is he'd play in a 4-3-3 as the right-sided 8, which would also mean we would need a specialist DM to stop counterattacks. So I kind of don't see it working as a midfielder full stop. I see it working inverted.
All right, so I think this stems from the whole Henderson stuff. Before I continue with Hendo, I know people are going to say I'm disrespecting him because I'm not. I rate what Henderson's done for the club. I'll always respect him. I have love for the guy, but I'm a Liverpool fan before I'm any player FC. The reason why I feel you have that reservation, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, is because how we've seen Henderson play the right CM role. We've seen Henderson be an engine as opposed to a technician. Trent's a technician. So you see all this, Henderson's going to get the ball and he's just going to pass it the nearest man, or he's going to hoof it down the pitch, down the line, and Salah's going to have to chase it before it goes out of play. We ain't going to get any of that from Trent. We're not, though. We're not. So Trent will get the ball, and because Trent's press resistant, because Trent can rely on his technique, instead of him doing the hoof up the pitch, he might turn around, cut inside, and switch it with his left foot across field. And now you've opened up another channel of attack because the midfield on the opposition side have come to close Trent or that side, and Diaz is free to isolate the fullback on the other side, for example. The stuff that Trent gives us from a technical point and from an attacking standpoint, but also his defensive nous in terms of knowing I've played at right back, I'll know which avenues to be in so I can even stop the attack before it starts. I think it opens up a whole nother dimension for us. And if we have a right back who's solid defensively, it takes onus off that right back to be as attacking, because we won't need to be, because Trent will cover the attack as well as Salah, as well as whoever else is in midfield on the left-hand side, Diaz, and then Jota / Nunes or Gakpo in the middle. I actually think Trent being in midfield changes the whole game for us.
I hear you, and that is a very good sales pitch for the idea. Listen, I probably still prefer the inverted thing. I hear what you're saying on the Henderson thing because it's still it stings. It stings still. Like
No.
You know, when he said he hoops it and goes out to play, I just remembered all the moments. You know, Henderson versus Leicester for me this year was the absolute worst performance of any player in any game this whole year. Like, it's just, I just. Listen, there's agendas and then there's reality. I think you being pro Henderson at this point is an agenda, not the other way around.
Yeah,
I think
it is.
it's kind of just undefendable or indefensible or however it's said.
I asked the question the other day, bro. I said, apart from Henderson being English, why else is he still at the club? And no one could answer the question.
Leadership, that's the only thing they say usually.
Yeah, but I mean, with all due respect, we've got other leaders in the team. Might not be as good as him as a leader, but we've got other leaders in the team. And if we didn't have this homegrown issue, with all due respect, it'd be Henderson has to be sold this summer, or he has to be
100%.
released. Something has to happen.
And I think it was big up Tom. I think Tom has made this point before. We've got the Dutch captain, we've got the Egyptian captain. Before that, we had the captain of Senegal. We have players who have reached World Cup finals.
Scotland captain.
Robbo, Scotland captain as well. Yes, we've have players who like are leaders in their national team. I don't really think we need the whole leadership even element like that anymore. But look, here's the thing with the whole Europa League qualification: Henderson, Bakatopola, Toulouse, all these guys in the group stage, perfect for him. Carabao Cup against Preston North End, perfect for him. I'm just not trying to see him against any. I want to see same way this year. Arthur Melo 0 minutes in the Prem. That's what I want to see for Hendo. I know that's not going to happen because he's Klopp's second son, but that's what I would do personally.
I hate to say, I think Hendo might start the season.
You know, Callum. Someone said today, Hussam, would it shock you if the first game of the season, because Klopp likes to do this whole integrated stuff, you see Henderson start in midfield? And I'm like, no. And then I thought about it, and my soul just like started crying on the inside because I'm just like, why?
I think he starts match day, the first match day.
I want to cry, Callum, man. This is not right. This is not right, man. This ain't right.
And do you know what the killer is? Because Klopp wanted to keep Milner and he couldn't get to keep Milner, he's going to hold on to Henderson even tighter now.
I can't, man. I'm just, hello, everyone. Welcome to This Is Football. It's our first watch along. And Henderson starting. I can just imagine.
I can see it.
Oh, God. But Cal's right. Big up to Granit Xhaka. He kind of revitalized our season.
Yeah.
I think Trent... And here's my thing for me. This is why I'm personally sticking more with the whole inverted stuff. Even the games we didn't win, Villa, Arsenal, and what was there's a third game we drew as well. What was the game? Southampton. Even those games, I think Trent ran the team. Even kind of without this whole thing. So I'm just taking it from the logic of we're gonna basically overpopulate the midfield in a positive way with players who can actually play football, like Thuram, like Kone, like Macallister. And I think that's going to turn out positive for us. But there's a guy I do want to ask you about because, listen, people are going to get upset. You're going to tell you, Sam, the last 7 games, Curtis Jones was unbelievable. So you can't not talk about him. So, Cal, I don't know where your mind was on Curtis or your thought process was before these games. But, talk to me about this whole Curtis thing.
Yeah, my mind went in a good place with Curtis. I can't lie. I kept on saying Curtis is only in the team because he's Scouse. I have to apologize. I have to apologize in how far I went with my analysis to Curtis Jones. I still won't sit here and be like, he's proven himself, because with all due respect, it was 7-8 games. I don't think you can prove yourself in 7 or 8 games. So I'll caveat what I'm going to say with that, but I didn't think he had that in him in those last 7-8 games. Like the fact that he was arriving late and scoring goals, being press resistant, slowing the game down when he needed to, speeding up when he needed to, picking the right passes, shooting when he should have shot. The frustration I had with Curtis Jones was he didn't know when to make the right decision at the right time. So for all of his skill, for all of his flair, for all of his pretty footwork, it was, you've held onto the ball for a second too long, which means now we've caught our strikers offside, so you've got to go back. He changed that. However, has he changed that because he was getting regular game time? And if that's the case, is he going to be good enough for us? Because he's not going to be a guaranteed start, or he shouldn't be a guaranteed start if we do what we need to do. And if that's the case, a wider conversation has to be, Could he be a squad player? Because a squad player effectively is an Origi type player who can come in from the cold, give you 2-3 games on the spin and give you some results in those games, and then potentially not see the pitch or a good amount of pitch time for another 5 games. Curtis, for me, thrives off opportunity and consistency. And if we do get a Macallister, if we do get Thuram, if we do get Kone, I unfortunately don't see that being a world for Curtis Jones unless he's a first name on the team sheet in midfield for Europa.
Okay, but see, that's the scenario I wanted to ask you about. We're playing Luton Town at home. Macallister needs a game off. Would you be worried going into the game if you see Curtis play ahead of Macallister for a game to rest him?
No, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
As things stand right now, I wouldn't. He's and here's the thing. It's weird because him and Elliot seem to keep on changing who's above who in the pecking order. But Jones for me is more talented in a centre midfield role than Elliot. It's just that Elliot seemed to have been more switched on mentally and a harder worker. However, in terms of technical ability, even when I used to watch him in the under-23s, it'd be Curtis Jones walking off with hat tricks and Elliot walking off with a goal. Like Curtis Jones would be running under-23s football. It's just that hadn't translated. And I think part of that is Klopp's fault. Part of that is his own fault. Part of that is the fans' fault as well. We started comparing him with the Sakas and the Fodens of this world, which we shouldn't have done. It's a horrible Liverpool trait we have in the fan base that whenever we sign someone, I think I saw it today, we look like we're signing Macallister. Some of our fans are starting to compare him to Bruno Fernandes. I'm like, stop it, man. Like,
some people are saying he's better than Jude as well.
Like, we know that's not the case. Like, what we should just be able to appreciate that we've got a very good signing over the line without having to compare him to other players, because it's silly. That's when it becomes silly. But as of right now, Curtis Jones deserves to be in that squad more than probably 3 or 4 midfielders we're going to keep.
I agree. And I was probably even harsher on Curtis than Callum, but I look at it simply from the perspective of if I've got to rest Macallister for 5-6 games in a year and I'm playing Curtis on that left, I'm not shitting myself anymore. I'm not going like, oh my god, shit, Curtis is starting. And by the way, it's funny how low-key I'm realizing Callum is just a calmer version of me. I'm just mad all the time.
There's times, bro. There's times where I go off.
I think with Curtis is just that my only problem with him was decision making. And infamously on this channel, I used to call him dribble. That's what I used to call him, because all he does is just dribble. Where is the pass? Where is it just never came.
Yeah.
And I think this is where he kind of had to just. And for me, I actually have no problem with a player who lets the pass go, but it goes wayward. I have more problem with the people who keep sticking to them in a counter-attacking situation or stuff like that. That's when I have a real problem with it. So now. We're kind of heading into the last segment of this whole show. Let me just run through the super chats and then we'll speak on the future, the whole dynamic of what's happening in the transfer window, because I think that's probably the most positive thing that's going to come out this whole show, because this year I was never, Cal, Southampton 4-4. Because we're YouTubers, we have to professionally do our watch along. When that referee blew that whistle for that 90-minute mark, I've never felt so relieved my whole life that the season is over. I've never been happier that the season is just done. It's just done. I was so happy. I'm like, yes, you know what, ref? Thank you. I don't want to see any of you guys for the next 2 months. Just don't show me their faces. Like, I actually want to miss it. I don't even miss them. I swear I don't miss them playing football.
Yeah,
like, I just don't. Big up to Gagandeep, says, big up Cal and Hussam, elite duo, thank you. Do you think the 3-2-2-3 formation is sustainable long-term? Also, how do we solve this Nunez situation as it currently stands? He doesn't suit our system. Why are you saying Callum on this one?
Oh, I knew someone's going to ask a Nunez question. And I see that in the background, you got a Nunez picture. So I'm a little nervy.
Are you pro Nunez? I'm not pro Nunez.
I'm very much on the fence with Nunez. Very much on the fence with him. I think this season we'll know whether he's the right player for us or not. But the problem I have is if he's not the right player, I don't think we're going to act how we should act, which is to move him on and bring in someone else if need be. I think the 3-2-2-3 formation, I think, can work against some teams. If you are too still with your formation, the team's going to figure you out, and then the rest of the teams are going to follow suit. Hence why I do want to see us where we do play games with inverted, where we do play 4 at the back, 3 at the back with maybe 4 in midfield and 3 up front, or 1 in the 10 and 2 up top. I just want us to be fluid again, where we go into games and teams are going, are Liverpool going to play a 4-2-3-1 or Liverpool going to play a 3-2-2-3? Make the opposition guess. The 2 things that annoyed me the most of the season, that probably went over a lot of people's heads, was after the Real Madrid game and after we played Brentford. 2 different managers at 2 different points of their careers, one who's achieved everything and one who hasn't achieved much, both said, we know how to prepare for Liverpool because they do the same thing. Bro, that is not good. If I'm a boxer and Muhammad Ali beats me and says, I know what Callum does, I can accept that. But if flipping Joe Smith, who's just become a professional boxer, turns around and says, oh yeah, I watch Callum, I know how he fights, that's easy, I can plan for him, I need to change. And that wasn't happening. I now need managers who are preparing for Liverpool going, I don't know who they're going to start and I don't know what formation they're going to play. So we have to try and play our game. And if you come to Liverpool and try and play your game, we're going to beat you. With all due respect, we're just going to beat you because we know how to navigate the game.
I just wish we did the inverted thing like 3-4 weeks before we started.
Bro, I wish we did a lot of things last season, let's be honest.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to ask you about Klopp in a second as well, because the whole
we will have a Klopp convo.
Yeah, we ain't going to let that go, because, you know, for me, the one thing, and I know Callum's the same, we're not the type of people to like just cancel people for having an opinion. If someone says he's Klopp out, I'm not going to go like, oh, you're not a real Liverpool fan. We don't do that. Yeah, we can. I disagree personally, and I have my reasons, but I think Klopp, for me, is probably the worst performer out of the entire Liverpool institution this season for me. He's by far. But I do think it's sustainable personally, Gagdeep. If we sign the right midfielders, I need to add that important caveat. Don't bring me no Ward-Prowse and then tell me 3-2-2-3.
No.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Big up to my guy, Captain Sal, who says, we got the Big Mac. Now get me the fries, turam, the shake, kone, and I'm ready to eat. Big up, guys. Big up to you, Cal. Thanks so much for Sal, sorry. Thanks so much for the super chat. And I think we need 2 extra things as well. We need some McNuggets and we need the McDonald's ice cream, because I think we need a center back and we probably need a full back as well. I think that's definitely a thing that
I'm going to add one more, an apple pie. We need someone to deputize and compete with Salah.
Yes. However, would you live with Elliott being second option? Europa League, Carabao.
We're going to have no choice. I don't like the idea of it, but we're going to have no choice.
Yeah. Agree with Callum H. With Trent, we don't need Thiago. I think Trent and Thiago would probably be low-key, would probably be the best double pivot at this club currently.
Bro, I live for a day when I see a DM and either side of that DM is Trent and Thiago. I
don't think you could get the ball off them. I think that's the best option, actually. Yeah, I can disagree with you there. But big up, Ed. Thank you for the super chat. Felipe says, can I ask top 3 best, worst LFC players this year? Worst, we'd agree, probably Henderson number 1.
Yeah, Hendo.
Even given expectations, like our expectations were low, but like, damn, like, okay, this was bad. Right. Who else would you say? Gomez. I'm going Robertson as well.
I go Robbo or Matip.
That's fair. And best 3, Alisson for me is 1 by far.
Alisson, yeah.
Like
Alisson, we're Chelsea.
If we don't win Liverpool Player of the Season, it's a mockery. Like it's actually a mockery, honestly. Who are the other 2 though?
Salah, do you know what? Fabinho in the worst 3 is Flacco.
True.
Hendo, Flacco, and Gomez.
True, that's fair. I wanted to put Robertson in there because of my agenda.
Yeah.
Best 3. Alisson, Salah, I'd say.
Alisson, Salah, Ibu.
Fair. That's fair. That's definitely fair. 100%. Big up to Callum. United fans bringing up 2020 comps of Mount after Mac is confirmed is so on brand for them. And I'm glad that he's no longer my problem.
Same.
Thank you, God. Alhamdulillah. If there's one, I just want to be happy in the transfer window. Thank God. I was fighting people on this platform I was telling them,
Same.
guys, Mount is a bad idea. And they're like RCM, and they're explaining, and they're like cover for Trent. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't
Nah,
want a young Henderson, please,
me
please.
neither.
I don't want it. I want something. I want people who can play football. Is that too much
Same.
to ask for? That's all I want, man.
And the thing is, Mason's good, but this talk of how he was going to come in and change the way we play midfield, he's not that guy. And
He
again,
won't.
might turn out to be wrong. He might go Man U and do his thing, but not for where we need to go. He's not
Yeah,
that guy.
100%. If Trent plays inverted role next season, can Kone play as a right back to cover up? I don't necessarily think Kone is going to cover up. I think look, every system, every formation has pros and cons. The inverted pros is we overpopulate the midfield. So we dominate games from a midfield perspective. If you're saying a midfield four of Trent, Kone, Thuram, Macallister, that's just elite. Big up to you though. Nadra Sultan says Hussam and Callum, what the hell? Hussam Cal is the biggest homegrown guy you will meet. I know that's a lie. Nah, big up. We need more. Cal, you saw Hendo's video. I think he's talking about the whole Saka Salah video.
Yeah, not happy about
I
it.
said sell him. I quote tweeted that. I said sell him. I just need an excuse, Cal.
Again, look, I shall I tell you what I found with Hendo? And again, I understand why he does it. He's very much on the side of staying politically neutral when it comes to football conversations. But for me, I don't think you ruffle any feathers if you say Salah over Saka. Because again, no one's silly. I don't think Saka sits there and says I'm on Salah's level. So, and considering how many years you've played with Salah now, what, since 2017? You've played
That's
with him for
actually a
6
fair
years.
point. I think Saka himself would be like, yeah, I understand. Saka won't be mad.
For me, I know Saka's had a better season than Salah just gone, but come on now, it's Salah every day. Like, there is not a right winger in football. There's not a team that Salah doesn't go to and start, like, in the world.
I agree.
If Salah goes to Arsenal tomorrow, Saka's not a starter anymore. It's as real as that.
Unless he goes left wing or left back.
He's gonna have to change. He's not playing right wing anymore.
Yeah,
like Salah's the guy in that position. It just is what it is.
Callum, man, nice to see you. And the apple juice here.
I'm
excited with the start of the transfer of Maka. We're going to get into that now because, you know, the future is what we want to address because, Lord have mercy, the past has been painful. But thank you so much. And Callum and his apple juice are welcome here anytime. Big up to Chombe says we are bigger than City, but City act like the bigger club. Fair.
Facts.
We're excited for Macallister and they're going for Kimmich. We ain't winning the Premier League next year. This is what I want to address. I want to address the expectation heading into next season because I don't know Callum's thoughts on it yet, but I'm expecting the Prem, and I'd be mad if we don't win it. I'm gonna be so honest with you.
Yeah, really?
Listen, expecting and predicting are two different things. I'm not predicting it. I'm expecting it because we had 2 off seasons, right? Now 3 actually, if you count the one where we didn't win the Prem. Are we gonna allow 4 off seasons? Like 4?
Well, we're not going to fix all the things we need to fix in one summer. Now, let's be real. I'm still sitting here right now and I'm saying Macallister seems like it's over the line. I'm still not sitting there thinking we're going to get Kone and Thuram. I'll be shocked if we get both. I'll be very surprised if we even get one. I think we do a very good job of PR at this club and get the fans happy and get them on side. And then we spin the narrative and go, oh, well, we weren't interested in this player for this, that, and that reason. Like, sometimes we just don't concede defeat. Man City ain't going to rest on what they do. Everyone's forgetting about Man City. Man City ain't in the transfer market right now because they're trying to win a treble. You see, after next week happens, Man City are going to be swimming in the ocean again. And then they're going to be going, Gavardio maybe? While we're looking at a left centre-back who's not as good as Gavardio. They're going to be saying, Kimmich, oh, well, you're not steady there now. All right, come on. We'll sort that out. In my opinion, the reason why we're pushing through this Macallister deal as quickly as we are is because we're thinking to ourselves, if Gundogan decides not to stay with City, Macallister is a very, very good replacement for Man City and Gundogan. So we need to push this Macallister deal right through ASAP because if Man City come sniffing, I think it will be an easier choice for Macallister than a lot of people want to admit. So
Qatar, call me. I got
Yeah.
you. I'm gonna broker the deal. I got you.
So,
Timothy says
yeah.
there's no random video pop out of nowhere. Hey, when a video comes on your homepage, it means you better watch that stuff. That's all I'm saying. You better click watch on that video. Big up to you, Timothy, man. Thanks so much for the super chat. The last two super chats. Zlatan says, Hussam, where is selection at? He was endorsing the London Camel Mount. This guy Zlatan right here came on my call-in show, called Mount the London Camel, and everyone just started laughing on that stream. And he has a point, you know.
Yeah.
And when it comes to selection is the most confused person when it comes to this whole, like, he loves PNP and he loves technical ability. You ask him who's our best forward, he tell you Diaz because of Jogo Benito, and then he also wants Mount. It's just confusing. So
It
he's
makes
just
no sense.
yeah, that's just confusing. And finally, Peyrad says there is a theory that the source of all Klopp's power was the glasses. And since he got LASIK, he can't see right anymore. I mean, that's a conspiracy theory I can get behind because,
Yeah. Let's be real. Since he's taken off the glasses, things ain't really been the same, if we're going to be honest.
100%. 100%. That's a very good conspiracy theory, Peyrad.
It is.
Would I take KDB at LFC? That's like asking if you'd take Rihanna. Like, what a dumb question.
Bro, where do I sign up?
Like, I'd do that right now.
Hold on. No, you see if KDB comes to Liverpool, Trent, I'd say, yeah, he stays right back.
Yeah,
that triangle
exactly.
of Trent, KDB, and Salah, oh my, bro, we win everything.
100%. That's a wild question. I mean, but you are a troll after all.
Yeah.
So final segment, Klopp the future transfers. Before we do that, 450 people watching us. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Make sure you slap the like button right now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're yet to do so. We cannot have 450 people watching us. We ain't even on 200 likes yet. We can't have that Darwin Núñez conversion rate. We need Erling Haaland conversion rate. Make sure you slap the like button. Make sure you subscribe to This Is Football if you're yet to do so. Big up everyone who sent in a super chat. I'm going to give you guys a big shout out at the end. Make sure you all slap the likes. Make sure you all subscribe now. So, Callum, Klopp out movement, Klopp criticism, you know, heading into the summer with the transfers. We've already touched on Macallister and you know, kind of the whole FSG thing as well. You know, it's well documented. There's 2 planes that flew over, you know, Anfield.
And big up the people who made that happen.
Big up Cardiff. We kind of organized that together. We did it with a whole lot of people on Twitter. Big up everyone who donated as well. It was what's it called? What's it called? Just Fund Me, I think, right? Just Just Fund Me. Yeah, GoFundMe, sorry. Yeah, GoFundMe. Kind of organized that. Kurdish was speaking to me before he did it. He's like, Hussam, we should plan this for the Arsenal game. I don't think this will be done quick enough. Within 3 hours, boom, everyone just kind of had the plane, you know, ready with the engines. So I know there's a lot to unpack because this isn't just a loaded question. This is a full question, you know, but Klopp, FSG, summer, heading into the future, kind of. That's the question.
So I'll start with FSG. I am, and unless some miracle happens, will always be FSG out. I think they've let the club down. I say they've let the club down. They've done good things at the club, but I always say you can be a bad person and do good things in your community. Like, they are not great owners, but I think they've stumbled across a phenomenal manager and a very good recruitment team. They're not the worst owners in the world, but given what we could have been, they hold a lot of accountability, in my opinion, because they did not capitalize when we were at the peak of our powers. And that's when you eat well, when you're at the top of your game, and we didn't do that. In terms of this season as an isolated season, I'm with you. No one, in my opinion, has let themselves down and let Liverpool down more than Jurgen Klopp. And the reason I say that is because he's too good to have been making the mistakes that he was making throughout the whole season and without changing. There's a level of stubbornness that you can get to where it goes, you're being a bit silly now. His was plain arrogance, and his arrogance started from the transfer window of last year's summer when he was on the Anfield wrap and Neil Atkinson said, what we're going to do in midfield. And he turned around, listed all the midfielders we had. And he said, you tell me what type of midfielder do we need? And bless Neil, I understand why he didn't respond. But every Liverpool fan could have turned around and said, well, Klopp, we need a midfielder for a start who's not injured all the time. We need a midfielder who can drive with the ball, and we need a midfielder who can score a goal. Last summer, we needed 2 midfielders. This summer, 2 midfielders is what we deserve. Jurgen Klopp throughout the season kept on playing his favourites. He's single-handedly alienated Tsimikas, in my opinion, alienated Kelleher, alienated Carvalho to the point where Carvalho is so fed up that he's acting like a child, which I can't even be mad at because he still is a child. He was continuously playing players out of position. We brought in, and look, this is not even a dig at Gakpo. Gakpo's changed my opinion on him, but we brought in someone who was meant to cover the left wing and now has converted him to a false nine, which means we have 3 strikers and only 2 wingers, which again for me doesn't make sense. And I don't want to hear this narrative of, oh, but Jota and Nunes can play on left wing. Yeah, I can play right back, doesn't make me a right back. There's a big difference with they can play there or they are that position. Jurgen Klopp for me has to change. I maintain Jurgen Klopp for me has until December to prove the critics wrong. You see, if someone said to me this time last year, Jurgen Klopp out, I kid you not, would have probably had a virtual fight. Like, I'd have been like, what are you talking about? Who are you talking about? You see now, if someone says to me, Klopp out, I sit there and I go, I don't agree,
I understand.
but I understand.
Yeah.
I do. I genuinely understand. And the only reason I sit here and I say Klopp gets more time, and it is a contradiction to an extent, is because he's got credit in the bank and because I know he can turn it around. But I'll always maintain the only person that can hold Jurgen Klopp back is not FSG, it's Jurgen Klopp. If Klopp wants to be the guy again, it's up to Klopp. Because let's not act like we weren't winning stuff, even though FSG have been dead owners. So this narrative of Klopp can only do this much, no. Because no one can sit there and tell me Arsenal had a better squad than us just got the season just gone.
100%.
Newcastle had a better squad, or Man United had a better squad. The only squad that you turn around and say is better than ours is Manchester City's, even in terms of starting 11s. I'm sorry, Newcastle ain't got a better starting 11 on paper. Neither do Arsenal, and neither does Man United. They should not have been above us. Brighton shouldn't have been chasing us and running us off the pitch at the Amex. That is all down to Klopp. That is all down to tactics. That is all down to overplaying the same players and draining the system. If he doesn't change, it's going to break my heart, but he has to go. I will repeat, I am a Liverpool fan. I was here before Klopp. I'll be here, God willing, after Klopp. It's Liverpool over everything and everyone. If I can see Steven Gerrard leave the club, I can see anyone leave the club, bro. It's as real as that.
You know, with this whole thing, like, I think me and you are in agreement again. We're in agreement, you know. I think, I kind of realized after the show, it's just the way we say stuff. I'm kind of just more aggressive a little bit, but we're just saying the same stuff. Because my thing is, I've always like said to the people that watch me, everyone who watches me knows what I'm about to say. I've said always consistently, we have to be balanced when distributing blame. I'm FSG out. Yeah. I'm not Klopp out. I am FSG out. I don't want Klopp gone, but at the same time, I can recognize Klopp's errors this season. I can recognize the fact that it took him too late to change the system. He took way too long to. With all due respect, after the Madrid game, our season was over with. Why didn't you just do it then? Well, like, what are we even waiting for? It's all over. We can't win the champs. We were out of the FA Cup. We're out of the Carabao Cup. And at the time, we had zero hope of top 4 anyway. Might as well try some new shit. So for me, changing it too late, playing his favorites, every man and his dog knew Henderson is just not fit enough for this team. Should have been benched long ago. I would have rather Curtis. I would have rather Elliot. I would have rather Bobby Clark from the academy. Just give me something fresh to work with. Even that's why Bajcetic was probably a fresh, a kind of fresh thing for everyone to look forward to. Like Bajcetic, we kind of, and he was looking like our best midfielder, which is worrying.
He was, bro, he was our best. That's how embarrassing is that?
Very embarrassing that a guy can come just from the under 18s and become our best midfielder straight away. It's just so embarrassing.
And he's a centre back. Bajcetic was a centre back as well.
God, how did Bajcetic come in and look like prime Iniesta on this team? And it's funny you mentioned Brighton. The most frightening part about Brighton is every single Liverpool fan right now would take a midfield duo of Caicedo and Macallister to improve Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah,
like that's Brighton. That's Brighton Football Club. 2 8s that would come in and make us better. With Klopp,
walk into the team.
Yeah, with Klopp, tactical decisions for me, and Callum, when he mentioned the Neil interview, you see this where I'm just saying levels of aggression. I got triggered as soon as he mentioned it because I remembered it, and I remembered
So did
going
I.
at the time. Like, listen, I'm not gonna say anything negative about the Anfield rap guys or whatever because I'm not trying to do that right now. My thing is, even professionally, he could have just went like maybe because we need fresh legs, Thiago, Fabinho, injury prone players. But I know, I understand. You know what? I'm gonna say I
Yeah.
understand. But for Jurgen Klopp, he didn't even just do it on the Anfield rap. I think he did it on Redman, on press conferences. Everyone's going mad why we didn't
Bruv,
sign him.
he said we're spoiled for getting top four. That was Klopp. He said that.
Oh my God, man. But I am with Callum though. But here's the thing. I want to ask Callum something about the future. Why, when I said our expectation, not prediction, our
Yeah.
expectation should be winning the league, did you kind of, not really agree with it?
Because I don't think we're there yet. And again, we are chasing teams from a point of regression. So you see if the summer that we want and hope for happened last summer. You see if we got Kone and Turam last summer and like one other player, brother, I'm screaming. I'm saying I want a double. I want a Champions League and a league victory medal. I look at Man City and the momentum they're going to have after winning the treble and adding to the squad. Because that's another thing. Man City's got quite a thin squad. They're going to boost out that squad now. Arsenal, I think, Arsenal are kind of in limbo because if they don't get Rice and Caicedo, I don't think they're going to be as good as they were this season.
Fact.
Newcastle are the anomaly. They could go and do a madness in the summer. And I'm not, when I say a madness, they might not get like the household names, but they're going to get players that football fans go, oh no, Newcastle are here now. Man United, you never know what you're going to get with them. But they still pipped us to fourth in it. So we got to put some respect on them. I think there's a difference between getting back in the top four and winning the league. And that difference is, and again, I say this with respect to Man City. Man City, in my opinion, wouldn't be competing for the treble if they were in a title race with Liverpool. Because you see those last few games where they were able to rotate and take players off, and you can't do that in a title race with Liverpool because you're playing up until the 96th minute in the last game of the season to win that trophy. They had wrapped up the trophy so early after Arsenal kind of capitulated that they were able to rest and be fresh for the Real Madrid game, be fresh for the FA Cup semi-final. Now they're going to be fresh for the Champions League final. But when we go on those runs and we go in those battles with Man City, it takes a lot out of us as well. I don't know if we're able to do that next season because I don't think we'll be able to do all the changes we need to do in one summer. So my expectation is to get in the top three, be within 10 points of Man City, but anything less than that is a failure. But the following season now, I want a league title. Next season's the last season where I'm going to live without a league title. After that, I'm going to be screaming from the roof.
Hear me out, Cal. Let me entertain your
Sell
thought
it to me.
process.
Sell it to me, bro. Sell it to
Hear
me.
me out. Before I do, there is one thing I do agree with you completely. The most frustrating thing about this summer is we could have literally signed every single one of them last year anyway.
Thank you, bro.
This is the one thing for me. Who are we linked with? Bring me the best of the best from the players we're linked with. Who? Caicedo? We could have signed last summer for half the price.
Probably could. Kone was right there last summer.
Macallister, I swear, you think without a World Cup he'd be worth this much? We're calling it a bargain now. Last year we could have bought him for what, 20 million?
20 mil.
Easily. We could have had Rice, we could have had Caicedo and Macallister, no exaggeration,
Rice
both
is the one.
for
Rice is the
60
one that
million.
really bugs me.
Both.
Rice is the one that really bugs me.
Exactly. So for me, that's the thing that pisses me off. But this is the hear me out part.
Go on.
I look at us more like a Chelsea in between Mourinho and Conte, where they won the league, they fell off for a year and won it again, because I see us with the same spine. I'd agree with Callum completely. There's no disrespect to Arsenal. If you're an Arsenal fan listening, I apologize for the stray, but we've got world-class players.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Saka, we're talking about Salah. We're not talking about Saliba, we're talking about Van Dijk. I think we have the spine there. The spine for me is Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk. The left back was part of the spine, but I'm gonna let that go. You've got Salah in there. I think comfortably we've got 5 world-class players. If you mention Thiago as well, because his problem is he's made from Weetabix. His problem ain't the footballing ability.
Yeah.
So I look at it from this perspective. Being honestly looking at it, I don't think Jurgen Klopp's going to take the Europa League seriously until we're in the knockout stages. So if that does happen and we play a secondary team in the Europa League, like the players we've mentioned already, like the Curtises, the Elliots, they're going to need game time. So they're going to get that in the Europa. If we do that, I'm looking at it from the perspective of my starters are essentially going to play 1 game a week. If they play 1 game a week, am I confident that we'd be able to beat 90% of the teams in the league? I'd say yes, which is why I expect now. I don't predict a league title. I expect a league title. Because my thing is, the year that we had the injuries, we're like, okay, you know what? We had the injuries. We're never going to say anything. Last year, we're like, oh, we went for a quadruple, blah, blah, blah. This year, all hell broke loose. So I'm just looking at next year, like, how, like, can we really have 4 seasons where we kind of didn't achieve what we set out to achieve? So I'm just having the expectation, the standard of winning the league. Whether we do it or not is, I think, something else. But have I sold it to you? 38 games a year, only starters.
Do you know what? You're right. When you break it down like that, I can't sit here and say you're wrong. My problem is we've seen Klopp play Virgil van Dijk against Lincoln City. This narrative
I was
that
coming back from injury, to be fair.
But that's even worse. my worry is we know what Klopp's like. We sit here and we go, he's going to play a secondary team in Europa. I don't actually know if that's what he does, though. I'd like to think he will.
Group stages, at least, though. Group stages,
bro. We've seen stranger freaking brother. He came out last season and said, "Alisson Becker is my FA Cup goalkeeper."
Yeah, but don't you think that was out of desperation because we kind of lost hope and everything else?
No, because we were still in. I think we still were in the Carabao. Were we in the Carabao? No, we got knocked out.
No, we weren't. We lost the Carabao. Yeah.
But even still, like, if you're Kelleher, you're thinking, so if he's the FA Cup goalkeeper, he's a Premier League goalkeeper, and he's a Champions League goalkeeper, when am I getting a game?
Yeah.
So it's things like that. Plus, we've become a bit of a momentum team. Going back down to 1 game a week for Salah, for Virgil, I don't know how they cope with that. Because you might be over-rested to the point where you're not as sharp as well. So I think we might take that for granted. In theory, it's brilliant. They're getting a week in rest between games, but they've been so used to playing Saturday, Tuesday / Wednesday, Saturday / Sunday. Is that lack of a midweek game going to throw them off momentum-wise? And iron sharpens iron as well. So this is such a pivotal season. We're on a knife edge at the moment. It's either going to go one of 2 ways. I don't think there'll be any in between next season. It's either going to be brilliant or it's going to be really bad.
I think it also kind of depends on the group a little bit, because I think Klopp might think some teams here's the thing, I'm saying this with all due respect. Teams in pot 4 like Toulouse, like Bacca Topola, like these teams, I think we'd easily play the bench. I think the problem is in pot 2, because we are in pot 1, obviously. When you look at the coefficients, you want to cry, by the way, because our coefficient is like 123. Everyone else is like 20, 30, 10, 6, 4.
I can imagine.
And you're just sat there like 120. If you add all the pot 3 and all the pot 4 coefficients, you get our coefficient, which is like, it just shows why are
who's the best team in pot 2 then?
AC Milan, I'd say.
With all due respect to AC Milan, we wash AC Milan. We washed AC Milan at the San Siro. I like the guy, so I'm never going to dump him. But Nat Phillips, Cruyff, Zlatan, and made Kessie fall on the floor at the same time. We should wash AC.
Yeah, but that's my thing, though. You look at it from that perspective. If we get, the problem is this conversation is such dependent on context. If we play Man City the following Sunday, I think Klopp would say fuck all this, and he'd just play the entire bench. If we're playing Luton Town at home, he might give. And here's the thing: we spoke on Nunes earlier. I think Europa League could be the thing that kicks him on, because we need this guy's goals. I'm not pro Nunes. I'm more negative on Nunes than Cal. I want him to come good, but at the same time, I just don't see it. I really just don't see it.
I'm like you. I'm like you. I want him to come good. I do. I want to come back on channels like yourselves and be on Coppish, and people are like, remember when you see this about Nunes? I want to be that guy where people ridicule, where you clip me up and you throw me on the internet and say, look at this mug because he said this. But whenever I ask people who are pro Nunes, what makes you so confident that he's going to turn things around next season? I never get a definitive answer. I always get because he can. And whereas if you say to me, what makes you think Salah's going to be better than what he was this season? I'll go, because if we have a better system in place, Salah's going to be better at isolating his defender. He's going to be able to play off a Jota who's going to be fit, hopefully, from the beginning of the season. Diaz is going to be hopefully fit as well, which is going to take some of the pressure off Mo, because they're not going to be able to double up on him as easy, because if we switch play, then Diaz is isolating a fullback. That's going to help Salah. No one has been able to sit there and definitively tell me why Nunes is going to come good next season. And when people are turning around and saying he hasn't been good this season because he hasn't learned English,
don't even.
I'm like,
Tevez won a golden boot without speaking a word of English. Like, what are we doing here?
This is what I mean. It's like him missing chances weren't because he doesn't speak English. It was one of two things. It was either a technical deficiency or nerves. I'm hoping it was nerves. But it could
I'm not sure learning Shakespeare is going to make him score a one-on-one. I'm going to be so real with you. Like,
so it's like when I hear things like he's not doing well because he hasn't learned the language, I'm like, how many strikers have we seen come over?
Cal, that's where we can use the Europa, though. Just give him all 6 group games. Yeah. Just give him all 6 group games.
I would. I'd play Gakpo from the left in Europa, Nunes, and then whoever from the right. Probably Elliot will have to be.
Yeah.
But for me, yeah. But for my starting 3 for the first game of the season is Diaz left, Salah right, and Jota through the middle. That for me is our. And I know some people say Gakpo. I'm taking Jota every day of the week.
Fair. I'm taking Jota too, but on the left, I'm benching Diaz. Oh. Listen, Cal, you see this whole Jogo Benito stuff? He pisses me off.
You're benching Lewis, bro.
Let me tell you why I'm benching him. You see all this dribble
drink with this one.
Okay, Callum, let's go to the last game of the season, Aston Villa. How many times did Diaz dribble past the guy and do all the futsal stuff? He's an unbelievable futsal player. When it comes to making the decision at the end, it's either a goal of the season contender or it's a shit pass or it's a shit shot. Am I being fair? I'm being fair.
All right. So what you said is right. But when you add the context to it, though, before his injury against Arsenal, he was easily our best player. Coming back from that injury, I think it's going to take him a little bit of time to get back in the rhythm. But now, before he got injured, bro, he was carrying that attack. The Crystal Palace game, even the Napoli game, he was phenomenal.
Season contenders, right there, both of them.
Yeah.
That's not sustainable, though.
No, you're right. Yes,
he ain't gonna dribble past 6 guys and shoot at top bin.
That's true. But I just thought he was head and shoulders above everyone. Even a Bournemouth game, he got a brace in a Bournemouth game as well. Played well.
That was the Firmino game right there.
Yeah. I know. But
I hate the fact that bastard John Henry showed up when we won 9-0. I hate it so much.
Even the West Ham game, he showed up when we won against West Ham. When Trent was playing phenomenally in the inverted.
Hey, if he's a good luck charm, why don't he show up every week? Come show up then.
He don't care for us, bro. We're his side chick. He don't care. Like, he'll take us shopping now and again, but that's about it.
Listen, I love Diaz. I've got no problem with the guy. I just don't like the futsal element. Sometimes
that's fair enough.
You know what pisses me the most off with Diaz? Bottom line, even worse than his final decision. Sometimes he dribbles past people, gets to a dangerous position, and then decides to stop just to dribble past them again. Like, why? Why?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's yeah. I reckon he'll be fine next season, though.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, we'll see what happens in the Europa League. I think it all depends on context. I don't want to keep Callum for too long, so let me just read the super chats out, and then we're gonna wrap it up, my lovely people. 450 people watching us still at this time of the night. Big up to you guys. Make sure you slap the likes. Make sure you subscribe right now. Big up to Qusay, who says, Callum, welcome. Good to have you. Big fan. Big up to you, bro. And Callum's always welcome here. Memphis Dubai says, glory, glory, Liverpool. I want you to say it with some hold. You ain't going to catch me out. You ain't going to catch me out with that shit. I'd rather stab myself than do that. for the size of LFC, top four is mandatory. Ever since Klopp said we are spoiled, I'm Klopp out and I will never be Klopp in, even if he wins the quad. It's
Wow.
a bit extreme, but I know Chombe is a Liverpool fan since the 80s as well, so he ain't like some new guy. He's been there. He's been there for the longest. And you have the right to that opinion. I hear you. Because we definitely ain't spoiled. We've seen one league title in our lifetime, spoiled my ass. We haven't even seen multiple trophies in the same season, like big and small. It's either been small and small or just big on its own. Yeah, that's the thing. So, hey, it is what it is. Big up to you, Mr. Sinclair says. Big up the boys. Callum, do your thing. Wink, wink. Love from Australia.
Big up, Mr. Sinclair.
Man. Big up. Messi FC. See, but I told you I keep the same energy. My subscribers, they all love you. They all love you, Cal, because I always speak highly of you guys on and like behind your back and to your face all the time.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, bro.
Nunes causes chaos and it can be coached. You know, Messi FC, that whole chaos thing was kind of funny and cute at the start.
Yeah,
after that, it got annoying.
People
are actually using it as an argument, Cal. Like, bro, he causes chaos. Who gives a fuck? Who gives?
With all due respect, you see if I hear attributes and I think to myself, me at my age, who's not playing football regularly, can do those. I kid you not. Being out of shape right now with a dad bod, if you gave me 60 minutes to play for Liverpool, I could go and cause chaos for an opposition team.
All the chaos you want.
But I guarantee you, I ain't going to convert chances. Like, I'm not a striker. I'm not going to convert. But I will cause such mayhem for the defense. They're going to be like, why is he running over there? Is he onside? Is he offside? That doesn't mean I'm scoring goals. Like, 60 mil, you're there to score goals, not cause chaos.
Just give us a week, not a week, a month to get in shape, and boom, we're ready.
Thank you, bro.
You know, Klopp, if you want chaos, call me, bro. I'm here. I delete this channel right now to play for Liverpool.
I'll play for free. Right, no, I'll be a free signing, but you got to break me off some money. I got
you have to bring it. You have to give me something. Like, I ain't gonna an internship, you know? Big up to Terry says Diaz is brilliant going forward. He can't finish his dinner. He's serious work on finishing. I reckon Nunez will show his value soon. Big up, lads. Me and Callum, I think, are in agreement. We want him to prove us wrong. We want him to score goals. I want nothing more than every single man of Nunes FC to come tell me, haha, he scored 30 goals, hold that. I'd love that. I would inject that into my veins. With Diaz, I don't think it's just finishing his dinner. I think it's decision-making full stop. Even making the right pass, I think he has a problem with. That's my issue. So I'd rather the robot in Jota than the futsal player. And finally, Tarmizi says, big up to two of my brothers. Big up Tarmizi, man. Callum, when you mentioned McDonald's apple pie, this is not going to be another dessert talk, but all love and respect to you both. You never walk alone.
We had a dessert talk on Coppish last night, bro. I've got a real bad sweet tooth in it. So, like, we went into dessert talk and I realized I'm a sugar fiend, man. I got to sort myself out. I'm on a slippery slope at the moment, Don, bro. So
sugar is just... You know, I've never been a sugar guy. I've been more like a main food guy. That's why I got big as hell.
That's what Matt's like.
Yeah.
I'm a dessert man.
Yeah. What's your favorite dessert?
Oh, have we got enough time, bro?
Give me top three.
Top three? All right. So... waffles with small marshmallows, chocolate sauce, ice cream, strawberries and bananas. That's my top one. Costco chocolate fudge cake is number 2. And 3, I'm gonna go. There's a icing sprinkle cake that they do in a packet, bro. I kid you, it's like biting into heaven, bro.
He wants to eat one right now, the way he's saying. He wants one right now. I'll be sorry with you. 100% wants one right now. I can't lie, I'm not a big dessert guy, but if I had to go with one, I'd probably go cheesecake.
I forgot about cheesecake as well.
That first one you mentioned was so specific, and it is just filled with calories. Every word added more calories to the plate. Waffles, marshmallows, chocolate, ice cream. I'm like, damn. Hey, you know, you eat that before a workout? Lord, the pump you have. That's going to be an unbelievable pump. Please, a new book this summer, I think. I think I probably speak for Cal. Enough books. I'm done with this book.
Done.
Listen, we won one league title. We enough books. Go win the other one and then bring out more books.
All
this book talk. It's just insane. Anyway, thank you so much to Callum. Thank you to everyone who's watching us right now for tuning in. This was actually more fun than I expected it to be, because I
Yeah,
thought
it
we'd
was
be depressed about
actually.
it.
No, it
Big
was.
up to you guys. Make sure you guys slap the like button. Make sure you guys subscribe. Still 420 people in here. Big up to Chris, Elman, Felipe, Chambe, AM, Ed, Amin, Pimp. Every time I say Pimp, it's so weird. RB7, Gagandib, Sal, Tron, Nadra, Tarmizi, Terry, Messi FC, Mr. Sinclair, Depay. Even though you try to make me say GGM, you never gonna happen. Qusay, Payrad, Timothy, Zlatan, and Sultan Al-Mannai, my brother. Big up to you guys for the super chats. Make sure you all slap the like button. Make sure you all subscribe. And now we're going to go to our lovely guest today. He's going to let you know where you can find him. Callum, thank you so much for joining me, bro.
Nah, look, guys, first and foremost, before I tell you guys where you can follow me, guys, make sure you support Hassan, man. I genuinely don't know many harder workers in the industry, so make sure you do that. Subscribe to this channel, smash the like button, and make sure you tune into his Twitter spaces as well. For me, you can find me at Callum Sanderson on my personal social medias, and then with Team Coppish on YouTube, Twitch, and everywhere else as well.
Big up to you, Calman. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Coppish if you've not yet done so. And I stick by it, pound for pound, the best Liverpool channel out there. It ain't about the numbers, it's about who got the streets. Always remember, it's about who got the streets.
I appreciate it.
Big up, man. Love for coming on. Big up everyone in the comments. I'll see you guys tomorrow, inshallah. Peace.
Big up.